ladies and gentlemen. With this particular story, I'm conflicted talking about this because I can actually understand where the wife in this situation is coming from, but I also understand that you can't break the law. You can't take the law into your own hands. You can't do this vigilante justice, even though in our heart we understand where a person is coming from if they feel the need to take the law into their own hands in certain situations, but I highly advise against it. You could get yourself in a whole world of legal trouble, prison time. You just don't want to ruin your life and throw your life away when there are ways to handle it in the courts and you can get the laws changed to work in your favor, right? But the individual that you guys see on my screen right there, again, the story is coming out of Baltimore, Maryland. So again, y'all are taking another L because Baltimore, since I've been on YouTube, has taken a lot of stories. A lot of stories have come out of that city. Now, authorities in Washington, D.C. said have arrested a 50-year-old Maryland woman for shooting her husband, which is this lady that you see right here. Let me see if I can get a solo shot of her. No pun intended. She shot this man multiple times. The crazy thing about this story is she actually said that she didn't intend to kill this man. I'm like, wow. But check it out. The woman that you see right there on my screen is 50 years old, and she shot her husband, who is a retired Baltimore police officer, which makes this even wilder. Oh, but before I actually give you guys the details of the story, I should have already done this, so my apologies. Some of you guys might find my content controversial or offensive. The information is coming from credible sources, including court records, official police charges, and news websites. This video is going to have my commentary about the facts of this story. So the point is to use this as a cautionary tale in hopes that we can prevent tragedies like this going to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised, and that is your official disclaimer before we really get into the details. This woman shot a retired Baltimore police officer after he had been accused of molesting 3 children who attended the daycare that his wife owns and operates. How about that? His own wife owns and operates this daycare, which makes this just crazy. Police allege that on July the 21st, Shantiri Weems, W-E-E-M-S, shot James Weems Jr. Let me see if I can get his face back up here. So he is 57 years old. Now, he looks rough in that picture right there. I'm not going to lie. But there was a better looking picture of him. Let me see if I can find it. That one right there. For him to be 50 plus, less than 60 years old, hey, I'm just saying, like, I think they wear their 50s pretty good, in my opinion. But nonetheless, 57 years old, inside their hotel room at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. The retired policeman who was rushed to the hospital where he continues to receive treatment. Officials have not provided information on his condition. A statement from the D.C. Metropolitan Police indicates that the shooting happened shortly before 8 p.m. Now, I wonder how she found out about this. According to court documents obtained by WMAR, Shantiri and James were in a room when she confronted him about sexual abuse allegations made against him by the parents of 3 children. So the children told their parents, which that's a great thing. I'm glad the children had the courage to step up and say something. 3 children who attended her Lil Kids, K-I-D-Z, Castle with a K, Daycare Center in Owings Mills. James, who retired from the force in 2005, worked at the daycare as a bus operator for the last 2 years. Things quickly escalated, WMAR reports, citing the documents and Shantiri's claims that James got up and approached her in a menacing manner. That's when she allegedly grabbed a gun from her purse and shot him. That's her story. That he was being menacing to her, and I hope y'all understand what menacing is. If some of y'all don't know what menacing is, I actually learned this from Court TV. I don't remember which show it was or which judge show it was. But I remember when they talked about menacing, this is actually something that you can get in trouble for. And the last time I checked, it's only something men can get in trouble for. Menacing. You know what menacing is? Looking at a person in a threatening tone. Let me say that again. Looking at a person in a threatening tone, otherwise known as menacing. Looking. But I digress. The reason that I say that is because I don't know if they're actually going to say it in this article, and I'm getting this article from people.com, so thank you for the article. But I think she initially said that, well, let's just get there. Let's get there. WMAR reports 2 guns were recovered from the hotel room, along with a notebook allegedly detailing Shantiri's plans to shoot James. Hashtag premeditated. They recover a gun and a notebook. She reportedly told police that she only wanted to hurt James, not kill him. So that doesn't sound like he was menacing her, quote unquote, and she reacted because of that. It sounds like she had a plan to hurt him prior, which is premeditated. Shantiri has been charged with a single count of assault with the intent to kill, which she's yet to enter a plea. She is due on court on Friday, and this article came out at the end of July, almost the beginning of August, so about 4 weeks ago. Now, according to the Baltimore County Police, a warrant was issued Wednesday for James's arrest after allegations surfaced that James sexually abused at least 3 children while working at the daycare facility located in Owings Mills, which is spelled Owingmills. So if I pronounce that wrong, sorry. A statement alleges Baltimore County detectives first started investigating James earlier this month after they were notified of the abuse. James faces multiple charges, the statement confirms. When he is discharged from the hospital, he will be extradited to Baltimore County for his arraignment, and it's unclear if he has an attorney or anybody who can speak on his behalf. Baltimore County detectives continue to work closely with detectives from the Metropolitan Police Department, as well as members of the Baltimore County State's Attorney's Office. That is a long title. The Maryland Department of Education and the Maryland Department of Human Services, Child Protective Services, the statement says, adding that information can be called into the police at 410-307-2020, hashtag see something, say something. It's unclear Thursday if Shantiri, who has been held with no bond, has an attorney. Here's what I want to ask you guys, and here's what we have to really dig into this conversation. Let's just assume that these allegations are correct. Let's assume that the children did talk to their parents. The parents brought this to the attention of the daycare owner. Then they brought it to the attention of the police. Let's say it went that way. If that's the case, and if you believe that these allegations are true, or maybe she even has some concrete evidence, does that make it right for this woman to write out a plan and attack this man? To shoot this man, otherwise known as her husband. Now, we, being the advocates for children, yes, we want to protect children. Yes, we want to set an example. Yes, we want people to be held accountable for the things they do wrong to kids, and we want them to be judged in the harshest way possible. But again, what evidence is actually there? Was it enough evidence to say definitively, yes, he did this? Do you know this for an absolute fact? Matter of fact, here's what you got going on. People already on social media have come together because, like I say, I can understand both sides of this argument. and they're trying to support this woman financially. I think they tried to create a GoFundMe. They're trying to do some crowdfunding campaigns to get her money up so that she can defend herself, get her an attorney, bail money, or whatever it is that she needs. I can understand that to a certain degree, right? Only to a certain degree. But at the same time, the Bible calls us to follow the laws of the land. And I agree with that. You can't just take the law into your own hands. You can't just scream that somebody is guilty without giving them due process in the court of law. Right? Right or wrong, he has every right to stand in front of the judge, stand in front of a jury, and all of the evidence be presented in that fashion. And then if he actually did it, then yeah, give him a life sentence. I think it makes it worse because not only does he have the cloak of he used to be a police officer, I think that makes it worse. Because it makes you think that if he could violate these babies, violate his wife, violate these little children, how many people do you think he violated while he was a freaking police officer? This is where it has to come into play. If he's found guilty, if they present evidence that he had foul play with kids, I would think that anybody who was arrested on his watch, anybody who had a case that was that he was working a case on, I think all of those cases need to be re-examined or retried. Because I don't like dirty police, I don't like dirty cops, and I sure don't like pedos. Like most of us don't. But let me give you guys the fair usage before I really say something foul. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And if y'all would, y'all can help share this video. Simple way to do it is just to click the thumbs up. All it does is help share this video and let more people know that we're live talking about this story. So if y'all would, hit that thumbs up. We want to have one thumb up for everybody who is currently watching. Here's the news video. Let's get it.
And tonight, authorities working to interview more than 90 children who attended that daycare right in Owings Mills.
The owner's husband faces charges he molested at least 3 children. His wife shot him during a confrontation about the abuse.
And WJZ investigator Mike Helgren stays on this story for us tonight live at the district courthouse in Towson. That's where a judge denied bail for the suspect just hours ago. Mike.
Rick, Denise, warning, this is a sensitive case, and some of what you're about to hear is disturbing. The prosecutor called James Weems manipulative and a threat to children. Now, he appeared remotely and shook his head repeatedly as the charges were read. Your reaction to seeing him through the closed-circuit feed today?
Okay, well, if you see a lifelong friend of yours in trauma, then you know what you would feel. That's what I feel.
Donald Jones cannot believe the child molestation accusations against his fellow Marine and longtime friend James Weems, a retired Baltimore police officer. He recently vacationed with James and his wife Shantari, who shot her husband after the allegations came to light last month.
I've been with these folks recently, and I've heard none of this. None of this. And I'm floored. In total shock.
Prosecutors detailed one of the most sweeping child abuse investigations in Baltimore County in decades. Investigators will be interviewing 93 children who interacted with James Weems at his wife's daycare, Little Kids Castle in Owings Mills.
All I can tell you specifically is that there is an ongoing investigation.
Court records WJZ obtained show the first allegation made on July 3rd. Parents found their child watching pornography on a tablet. The child accused James Weems of showing her where to find it and of sexually abusing her here in the daycare's secure playground. James drove the daycare van and made the victim sit in the front seat, according to charging documents, and warned her never to tell. A second victim came forward on July 21st and alleges being inappropriately touched and told he would get in trouble if he told anyone. A third victim, who also sat in the front of the van, alleges Weems touched her and exposed himself. An attorney for Weems' wife says when one of the parents revealed the abuse, she confronted her husband in a Washington, D.C. hotel. The argument turned heated, and she claims she shot him in self-defense. James Weems used a walker to steady himself during his court appearance, still injured from the shooting.
Being accused of victimizing children, which is something that we do not do.
And the public defender tried to get James Weems released, but the judge did not buy it. Now, James Weems had worked at that daycare for 4 years. He drove the van for 2 of those years. Reporting live at District Court in Towson, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
After reviewing the charging documents, the judge declared no combination of conditions could protect the public from the danger posed by James Weems Jr. Dressed in an orange prison jumpsuit, 57-year-old James Weems Jr. used a walker to enter his closed-circuit TV bail review. Weems is recovering from a gunshot wound after his wife allegedly shot him inside a D.C. hotel room after confronting him about abusing children at the daycare she owns. He sat with his head in his hands, sighing loudly as the prosecution discussed the case against him.
These are very, very serious offenses. That's why we are asking that Mr. Weems be held without bail.
Weems is charged with sexually abusing 3 children at the Kids Castle Daycare in Owings Mills. The victims are a 12-year-old girl, a 10-year-old girl, and a 7-year-old boy. Investigators say Weems asked the girls to take explicit photos of themselves. He's accused of showing porn to one victim and teaching her where to find it on the internet. The girls told police they sat near Mr. James on the bus to be his door openers. The victims explained the incidents took place on the bus and at a playground on daycare property.
We believe that Mr. Weems was a risk to public safety, a risk to the children that were named in the complaint, as well as others.
According to police charging documents, a 10-year-old girl told authorities Mr. James, the owner's husband, touched her in a very inappropriate way 2 times. She explained that Mr. James was the only person who was nice to her, and he gave her snacks. She said Mr. James told her not to tell anybody. The 7-year-old boy told authorities a male employee said he would get into trouble if he told anyone who touched him.
I don't know.
Donald Jones says he's a lifelong friend of Weems and that he's shocked by the allegations.
Highly emotional situation. I'm here to support him, and I just don't believe that any of this, that he's capable of committing any of this stuff.
This is an ongoing investigation. Police believe there may be more victims. They plan to interview 93 children who were there at the same time that Weems was employed. Now, court papers indicate he worked there 4 years and spent the past 2 years as a van driver there.
Man, 93 children. Please let me know y'all heard that. They're going to interview 93 children. 93. Do y'all believe he's guilty? Look, I'm going to tell y'all, when marriages have issues, there is a lot of crazy things that come up. How many of y'all have ever watched something like, the Steve Wilkos show? You remember that show? Now, I don't know whether that show was real or not, whether those people that came on there were paid actors or not. But I do remember that there have been people that have come on there and accused their significant other that they were dealing with. This man did such and such to my kids, and then come to find out through the lie detector test that this individual that was accusing that person, usually the mother accusing the man, come to find out that she coached the kid to say this stuff against him because she had an issue, or she had a problem, or he tried to break up with her, or he was out cheating on her or something like that. I want y'all to remember, she wrote out a plan to shoot him. I'm assuming if she shot him, here's the cold part about it. She says she only shot him to hurt him. But anybody who knows anything about guns is if you pull your weapon, you better plan to kill that person. If you pull your weapon and fire upon someone, then your intention was to kill them, not to hurt them. Your intent for their life was death. Do we agree? That's not an accident. The gun is a tool. It's an inanimate object until an individual picks it up and makes a choice to do something with it. And the fact that she had a plan written out, it makes you wonder if she had more of a plan outside of that. I'm just throwing it out there because one would have to ask, look at this logically. He was a police officer up until 2005. I'm assuming that he had a reputable character. I'm pretty sure that he had people that could vouch for his character. Right? I don't think you worked that long as a police officer and you're just the dirtiest, nastiest. Well, I mean, I know it happens though. That's the crazy part. But I'm just assuming that most police officers are going to abide by the law. I know you got some bad ones out there, but I'm going to assume that most officers who sign up to enforce the law are going to abide by the law that they're trying to enforce. Right? Now, I don't know if he has any military experience, but I know his friend that came over here and spoke, you'll hear from him again in just a second. But I think he's associated with the military, and he's speaking on his friend's behalf, and he's saying, like, this is nowhere in his character. And I don't think that that man would have stepped out there like that unless he truly believed that his friend was innocent and he might be being set up. And shout out to Kurt Dog. I got to say this. Here's the caveat. You ready for the caveat? I don't believe that children would lie. Children have to be incentivized to lie. Children have to be taught to lie. Children have to learn value in not telling the truth. And with these being relatively younger kids, I'm going to assume that children in this situation aren't going to lie. They're not going to lie to their parents. They're not going to lie to police. And whenever they do these interviews with these 90-something children, I think you're going to learn a lot. And if he did this, I think he deserves a life sentence in prison.
Well, we are getting new information tonight about a retired Baltimore City police officer who was shot by his wife at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in D.C. last month. A judge says this man, 57-year-old James Weems, will be held without bail. Weems is facing sex abuse charges stemming from accusations he molested 3 children at his wife's daycare. And police believe there may be more victims. Here's Mike Helgreen from our CBS partners in Baltimore.
Your reaction to seeing him through the closed circuit feed today?
Okay, well, if you see a lifelong friend of yours in trauma, then you know what you would feel. That's what I feel.
Donald Jones cannot believe the child molestation accusations against his fellow Marine and longtime friend James Weems, a retired Baltimore police officer. He recently vacationed with James and his wife Shantari, who shot her husband after the allegations came to light last month.
The first weekend of July, they were in Miami. They were celebrating the 4th of July together. No issues. And I've been with these folks recently, and I've heard none of this. None of this. And I'm floored and just in total shock when all this stuff went down.
Prosecutors detailed one of the most sweeping child abuse investigations in Baltimore County in decades. Investigators will be interviewing 93 children who interacted with James Weems at his wife's daycare, Little Kids Castle in Owings Mills.
Obviously, these are very, very serious offenses. That's why we are asking that Mr. Weems be held without bail. I can't go into any details. The investigation is still ongoing.
Court records WJZ obtained show the first allegation made on July 3rd. Parents found their child watching pornography on a tablet. The child accused James Weems of showing her where to find it and of sexually abusing her here in the daycare's secure playground. James drove the daycare van and made the victim sit in the front seat, according to charging documents, and warned her never to tell. A second victim came forward on July 21st and alleges being inappropriately touched and told he would get in trouble if he told anyone. A third victim, who also sat in the front of the van, alleges Weems touched her and exposed himself. An attorney for Weems' wife says when one of the parents revealed the abuse, she confronted her husband in a Washington, D.C. hotel. The argument turned heated, and she claims she shot him in self-defense. Last week, a judge refused to release her, calling her a danger to the community.
Shantari Weems did not speak during her court hearing today, but once the proceedings were over, her defense attorney had plenty to say.
This case has resonated. It resonates across all races and sexes.
Defense attorney Tony Garcia exited D.C. Superior Court Tuesday morning with some of the family members of 50-year-old Shantari Weems, who were among a contingent of supporters in the gallery for the hearing.
Ms. Weems appreciates the support that she's getting. I believe there is And there are many things that divide this country, but the protection of our children is not one of them.
She's currently charged with shooting her husband, James Weems Jr., on July 21st in room 823 of the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in Southwest D.C. over allegations that he sexually abused children attending her Baltimore County daycare.
I will not get into specifics, but I will say she will aid in the protection of any of the alleged children under her care, period.
According to court filings, Ms. Weems told police, quote, she didn't want to kill him, she just wanted to hurt him, but said she does want to kill herself.
She wants him to be held accountable. She wants him to never molest another child. And when confronted with that information, he charged her and she defended herself.
Weems will be indicted, likely before Halloween, according to Garcia. They're still interviewing witnesses. He says, we're still in the discovery process, and says he's also anticipating delivery of DNA evidence. Shantir Weems remains behind bars tonight. She's being held at the D.C. jail on a no bond status. Her next court appearance has been scheduled, though, for November 28th. And today, the judge set a trial date, December 6th. In Washington, I'm Kate Amara, WBAL TV 11 News.
What type of evidence are they talking about? They're talking about DNA evidence? Boy, man, I have to hope that this man didn't do what he's accused of doing. But I don't put nothing past anybody, and I'm going to tell you. It'll just be a sad day whenever this stuff comes out in court and we find out what really happened. But if we believe the accusations and the facts come out and we find out that this man really did do what everybody accused him of doing, then in my heart, I think that what she did was justified. It's not going to be justified. She's still going to get jail time. But I think that she should maybe get a light sentence, especially in the midst of this. Because here's what I want y'all to think about, and I'm glad I thought about this because I didn't write it down because I was sure going to forget. Here's one thing that she could actually use in her defense because she came up with multiple stories already. She could actually plead, temporary insanity. I think that's actually, she could present a strong case for temporary insanity. And here's why. Because this is your longtime husband. This is your mate. This is somebody you trust. This is also a police officer that you shared your house and your bed and shared your life with for many, many years, right? This is a very devastating thing, even just the accusations, or especially if you had evidence on top of that. I'm pretty sure that there was a heated argument that happened. You weren't in your right mind. You flipped. You're seeing your marriage fall apart. You're seeing your life fall apart. You're seeing your finances fall apart. You're seeing your business, your daycare fall apart. You're thinking about the children. Should I be an attorney, y'all? Should I be an attorney? Right? I think I should. I think somebody should pay me to be an attorney. Because I think I can make a very strong case for her that she could claim temporary insanity. She snapped. Especially when the evidence comes out and we find out that it's true. So keep that in mind. I think we will do an update to this story, especially when we get the facts, because it's stressful. Thank you. I'm telling y'all right now that 93 interviews plus DNA evidence, they've got something. They've got something. So stay tuned. Make sure you follow our channel, like, share, and subscribe to the AFC podcast. Also follow us on TikTok, okay? But thank you guys so much for listening to this story. Keep those children in your prayers, man, because I believe that those children are absolutely telling the truth. I am going to believe our babies until otherwise proven. All right? Thank y'all so much. Let me know what you think in the comment section about this story, okay? Thank you.